All right. If you want to just go around in the group and introduce yourselves.
My name is Dustin Cole. I don't have a webcam on, though, but I'm waving.
I'm Court Groves. So
that's all we got. Just names. Are you going to tell us a little bit about yourself, Dustin?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little about. Yeah, so my name's Dustin. I have 4 teenage boys that are a handful. I train dogs for personal protection, and we just started getting into training them for like therapy dogs. My kids are. I have kids that drive now, and so it's been a handful. It's crazy. my oldest is 17.
Wow. So he can be the chauffeur. Probably not. Is there like legal requirements for who he can have in the car with him?
Yeah. So he didn't get his license till about 6 months ago. So he can't have friends in the car for the first 6 months. He can have his brothers in the car, but we didn't let him. He wasn't allowed to start driving with them until about a month ago. He's left-hand turns blow his mind, so it's not even no bueno.
Well, tell him that from what I understand, that FedEx, they always try to route their drivers in right-hand turns, never left-hand turns because it takes too much time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I remember that. Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. There you go. All right, thank you, Dustin. I interrupted you, Court. I'm sorry.
So I'm Court. I've got 3 little kids. My oldest is only 4, and I spend most of my time working at a warehouse. So
very good. Okay, and I'm assuming that your children are not driving yet. Maybe in their little big wheels, their Hot Wheels around the driveway.
My 4-year-old wishes he could drive. He thinks he's old enough, but not quite.
Oh, that makes me think of that car commercial where there's a little bitty guy and he's in a car. He's like in his little big wheel and he's dreaming about daddy's car, and they put him in a variety of positions and he goes, "Ooh, I'm glad I don't drive yet."
Yeah, that would be my kid.
All right. Thank you very much, Court.
I'm Josh. I'm a full-time student and have no kids.
I'm jealous.
I'm only 19. I'm a freshman.
Okay. I would say it's probably a good thing you don't have kids, but I'm probably not supposed to say things like that to my students, so especially if I'm recording it. Thank you very much, Josh. So the next thing that I wanted to do is to give you my spiel on the importance of group communication. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. First of all, I'd say welcome to CS1030, Introduction to Computing. This is our introduction into the CS program, although you don't have to be a CS major in order to take it. But I would be inclined to say that in your career, if you choose CS, computer science, or some technology-related field as your career, that in your career you will be in a variety of different groups. Even if you are working on your own individual client, you are still going to be surrounded by colleagues that you can talk to and ask questions of and brainstorm with and have discussions with. But I can almost assure you that you will be in, over your career, one or more group, especially groups that are distributed, which means they're not going to be staring you face to face in your own office building. And so there will be 2 projects or 2 homework assignments that are going to require you to work with a group. Now, I would say that you may or may not know that you have already been in a group. I put you at the very beginning of the semester into a homework group so that you could have, instead of just being one cog in a giant class of 60 students, that you could have a much smaller group of students that you could talk to and ask questions of and commiserate with. But it would have no impact on your grade, because ultimately, when I suggested that you discuss things with your homework group, ultimately you still submitted your own homework assignment, and so it had no impact on your grade. I also wanted to give you the experience of working together as a group towards a single common end, And so this is the first of the 2 homework assignments that you will be in a group. And the group will be working together towards a single document, which means that it's critically important for this homework assignment and the next one that you are actually communicating with the other members of the group. You will be working together on a single document. It's important that you are collaborating on that document, and so I wanted to show you several different collaboration tools that you may or may not be familiar with. The first one here is Google Hangouts. This is an excellent way that you can have video chats or video conferences with the other members of your group, even though you're not in the same room together. It's also critically important that you learn the skill of compromise, because not everybody's going to agree on the same things. And so being able to compromise with the members of your group so that you can get the project completed on time for the client, that is the critically important part. So communication, collaboration, compromise, these are skills that are necessary to learn and to practice as you're working together with a group. And so I wanted to give you a chance to experience that. It does have an impact on your grade. As a matter of fact, when you're done with this assignment, one of the things that you will complete is a peer evaluation. And this is an anonymous evaluation of the other members of your group and the contributions that they have made. So it only seems fair that I am going to evaluate I'm going to evaluate the document that your group submits, and I'll give you a group grade. And then each one of you are going to submit some feedback on the contributions of the individual members, and that will also have an influence on the grade that each one of you individually receive. It only seems fair that if the group is working really hard and get a high grade, and there's a member who just has not shown up or is not doing anything, is not communicating, never contributed at all, it doesn't seem fair that they would get the same high grade as the rest of the members of the group, correct?
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, it seems kind of fair. And I know that in a real life scenario, sometimes you'll be put on a team and you're just not able to contribute. Maybe you're pulled away for other duties, or you just don't have time to contribute to the group. So it is still going to be the responsibility of the remaining members of the group to complete the work and to complete it on time, even if there are one or more members of the group who are not contributing for one reason or another. And their grade on this on the assignment, the project, will reflect the fact that they were not contributing. All right, so do you guys feel thoroughly chastised?
Yeah.
All right, very good. So the next thing that I wanted to do was to see if you had any specific requirement or questions about the homework assignment, about the requirements, what you're supposed to do, when the due dates are. Did you have any, I guess in general, questions about the class?
I don't think I have any questions about the class.
Yeah, I think you have it laid out pretty self-explanatory, so.
All right, very good. So you can always ask me questions at any time about the homework assignment or about the class in general. You're always more than welcome to send me emails or messages in Canvas, ask questions in the individual homework assignment, or excuse me, the individual chapter discussion post. So there's a variety of different ways that you can ask me questions, and feel free to ask me those anytime that you need. So the last thing that I wanted to do was, the whole point of this meeting is to give you guys a chance to decide on a single toy. Did you have a chance to upload some suggestions into a discussion on your group page?
Yeah, I think we have 2 on there.
Yeah.
We have the VR table, which is like just some games will have like a map that you can walk around, and that's what the table would facilitate. I really like the second idea of the backpack that carries that you like basically build a computer into, and it's set up for like the Oculus Rift or to use other virtual reality hardware. I think like putting a battery into it and using that and building a computer inside of that to handle it, I think that would be an awesome avenue to look into.
The first one sounds more like, you said VR map. I mean, you're talking virtual reality, because this is supposed to be hardware. So is that first suggestion actual hardware?
So it would be, the best example I have of it would be during when they announced the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10, and they announced like virtual reality games. they played a game where they had a table set out and you walked around the table holding your phone up and you could see different areas of the map. So the idea is that you have a table that holds the phone for you, and you can move the phone around on the table. So it's not the virtual reality game itself, but it's the table that holds the phone to move it around. And you could have app developers build apps based off of that. You can move around this whole world on the table, and you can zoom into portions of it, zoom out of portions on it, but it's the table itself for it.
All right, very good. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a chance to brainstorm additional ideas. And so we're going to have a brainstorming session together, because brainstorming is an excellent way when you have a group of people that you need to come to one single common decision. Brainstorming is just one of the tools that you can use to do that. And in order to have an effective brainstorming session, members of the brainstorming group need to have roles within the brainstorming session. So I'm going to have you number off 1 to 3, since there are 3 of you here. Number off 1 to 3.
3.
2.
1.
All right, so number 1 in the group, you are going to be the recorder. That means you're going to be writing down everything that everybody says. And so the whole idea of a brainstorming session is it is a time, so I'm going to time you. And then you're going to throw out as many ideas as possible. That would be in addition to the 2 that your group has already discussed. So you're going to be throwing out as many ideas as possible. So number 2 in the group, you are going to be the Sultan of Silly. Your responsibility is to try to get the group to break out of their rut, because one of the things that can really kill a brainstorming group is if everybody's kind of throwing out the same ideas or variations on the same idea. And so number 2, you're responsible for saying things like, hey, let's have a crazy, silly idea. Let's just get wild and crazy, because you're trying to get the group to think outside of the box. So number 2, you're the Sultan of Silly. Number 3, you are going to be the encourager. Because another one of the killers of a brainstorming group is people who say, oh, that is a stupid idea. Don't write that down. We don't like that. People who will shut down all ideas and thought processes within a brainstorming group. So number 3, you're responsible for encouraging all ideas that are given, saying, hey, that's a good idea. Yeah, we like that. That's a good idea. If we were meeting together in person, I would say you also have the awesome responsibility of shutting down negativity, which means that you have the right to kick them in the shins if they say things like, we don't like that. Or you could throw things at them like erasers or soft, fluffy bunnies. But that's going to be really difficult to do in this meeting. So I'm trying to decide, I don't know if you can poke people. And I know that Google Hangouts used to have this ability that you could draw on them. So if to shut down negativity, you could draw ears, bunny ears on them or something. I'm going to have to really think through this process. But you're responsible for shutting down negativity and not letting people bring negativity in, because that will stop the thought process of everybody else in the group if they're being constantly shut down. All right, so I am going to play the 4th role, critical role in a brainstorming group, and that is all brainstorming sessions are generally timed. It is a timed event, which means that you're supposed to be throwing out a lot of ideas in a very short period of time, anything that comes to your top of your head. For our brainstorming session today, they can be realistic, they can be wild and crazy like escalators to the moon. They don't even have to be realistic. So you guys can think of anything wild and crazy. But a 4th member of the group would be responsible for making sure the group is throwing out ideas. Because another killer of a brainstorming group is having people sitting there like a bump on the log, not saying anything. And so the speed captain is responsible for saying, all right, we only have 2 minutes left. We only have 30 seconds left. Come on, let's have some ideas. So I'm going to play that role in your brainstorming group, but I'm not going to throw out ideas. I'm going to leave that to the 3 of you. So do you know what we're going to be doing?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so the idea is you're brainstorming hardware toys that you might like to design, and you're going to throw out ideas in addition to the 2 that we have already heard. And then ultimately, we will whittle all these ideas down to 1. So let me set a timer. Are you guys ready to go? I'm going to give you 3 minutes as a group to brainstorm ideas. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody remembers your roles within the group, within the brainstorming session?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Got it.
All right. All right, Omar, get set, go.
So you have like hook up to your computer. This is going to replace your keyboard. It's like a light that shines down onto it. I know I've seen drawings of this before, but I think it'd be awesome to develop. It shines down like a keyboard map, but there's no actual buttons on it. It just tracks where your fingers go. But it's the piece of hardware would be the light that projects the keyboard down onto the table. And you could have a keyboard on literally any surface because it's basically a beam of light that's shining down.
What about?
I was thinking a dual monitor laptop. So I use a laptop for my work, and having a dual monitor, so I don't have to use a secondary monitor, but a dual monitored laptop that's all in one.
Yeah, like it folds out from the side. I dig it.
Yeah.
What about a augmented reality table for like tabletop games? So like you play a board game and put the cards on there, and it like reads the cards and does something special with a screen on the table.
Yeah, like what's that? There's the game that was on the Wii that you would put the little characters on, and it would change your character in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But doing that on a table, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's see.
About a minute and a half left, so if you want to keep throwing out ideas.
I feel like you could build so much off of that table idea. Let's see.
So we have a Sultan of Silly who's supposed to encourage us to brainstorm escalators to the moon or something.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of weird ideas.
So you encourage the group to think of weird ideas.
Trying to think something for the outdoors, like what's something you could do different without like a hammock? Like they have the hammocks that you can use as like tents, but what's something you could do off of that? Something that would be maybe like a backpack that is your hammock, that when you like to keep things light while you're backpacking somewhere, and then once you get there you just undo the backpack and it opens up and you have your sleeping quarters and everything has its own little like a nook and cranny, but then it all folds back together again and just into a simple backpack.
Yeah, like a all-in-one camping kit.
Yeah, that you sleep in.
All right, does anybody have any last ideas? Our 3 minutes is up. Does anybody have any additional ideas?
Nope.
Not.
What I'm going to have you do.
I'm really stuck on the VR table, man. I really like that idea.
All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have our recorder, number one. You're going to add those 2 original ideas to the list. And then you're going to read back the list to the entire group, because the next thing that we need to do is to whittle it down to 1 idea. And there are a variety of different ways that we can go from the 7 or 8 or 85, however many original ideas, down to just 1. There's a variety of ways that we can whittle it down. One of the ways to do it is kind of through a voting process. So I'm going to have the recorder read back all of the ideas that your group has come up with. And then I'm going to have each of you, let's say, for instance, there were 8 ideas. Each person would vote on their top 2 favorites. The ones that didn't get any votes, the recorder would erase. We're going to read back the ones that were remaining. Maybe next time each person votes on their top favorite. We delete the ones that were not voted on. And you're going to continue that process until you have, as a group, come up with 1 single idea that you would like to move forward with. So I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to do that, to whittle it down. So I'm going to have the recorder read back all of the ideas that your group came up with, and then I'll give you about 2 minutes to see if you can whittle it down to 1 idea.
Okay, so we've got the light keyboard the dual monitored laptop, the augmented game table, the all-in-one camping backpack hammock, the VR table, and the VR backpack.
My vote would be for the VR backpack or the augmented reality table.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I think my vote would definitely be the augmented game table or the VR backpack. I think both of those are great ideas.
same here, especially because the keyboard and the monitor already exist.
Yeah. So now I want to make sure I'm on the same page with you guys on this table. This is the one where we talked about like laying down a card and it like displaying itself or like displaying something with it.
Yes.
Yep.
I dig that one.
Yeah. That would be my vote for the one we go with, because I think that's the most ingenuitive.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's more unique than the backpack idea.
Now, is it a table itself, or is it like components that we could set on any table?
I was thinking it was like a table with a built-in screen and like sensors under the screen.
Sweet. Okay.
All right, so it sounds like you guys have come up with a really good idea. If you'll notice the design document that's a part of this homework assignment, the first step in the process is to get a little bit more understanding of the document itself. And so because you're collaborating on this effort, one of the collaboration tools that's available is Google Docs. Has anybody had a chance to use Google Docs before?
No, I've never used it.
I've used it very little.
All right, because you have a Gmail account, I should say you have a Gmail account because you have a Weber email account. And that Gmail account gives you access to Google and a variety of Google tools. So what I'm going to do is, one of the things that I like about the Hangout that we're using right now is it gives you ability to share your screen. If you move your cursor over, or who has never had the chance to use a Google Hangout before?
I don't think I've ever used it.
All right, so this is one of the tools that you can use to have conferences with one another. But what I like about it is that you can share your screen so that all the members of groups can see what's on your screen. So if you move your cursor over to the left-hand side of the window, you're going to see a green box with a white arrow in it. And if you select that, it will allow you to share any screen that you currently have open on your computer. So what I'm going to do is I am going to see if I can share with this group. Let me open up. Let me open up my email account. And then we're going to see from my email account if we can get to Google Docs through your email account. That just seems to be an excellent way to do it. So let me open up my email, and then I'm going to share that screen with you. And then I'll show you how to start a brand new Google Doc, and then how to invite other people, the other members of your group, or other people to view that. All right, so I'm going to click on the screen share icon, the green box with the white arrow. I am going to see if I can. I'm going to click on the application windows, and let's see if I can find. Oh, there it is, my inbox. So I'm going to share my inbox with you, so you should be able to see my inbox instead of me. And that makes me think that I don't know if it actually updates the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the icon on the top right-hand side of my screen, which is next to my profile picture. And it looks like a matrix with 9 little boxes on it. When I do that, I'm going to select Drive. If a drop-down, one of the options is my Drive, my Google Drive. Is it actually showing? Oh, good. It is updating my screen. So once I've selected my drive, you have the ability to create all kinds of Google, I would say Google documents, but if I click on New, It'll give me the ability to create spreadsheets and Word documents and PowerPoint slides. If I click on more, it also gives me the ability to create drawings and maps and forms and all kinds of cool and amazing things. But the one I'm going to select is the Google Doc. And if I want to create a brand new Google Doc, if I select Doc, this is an online document. I can give it a name. Up here, if I click on the untitled document, I can give it a name, my new document. Oh, looks like I did. All right, so then I can type stuff in here. This is my new document. But the beautiful thing about Google Docs is that I can share this document with other people. And so if you'll notice, the blue button on the right-hand side says share. So if I click the share button, it allows me to share in a variety of different ways. I can either send an invitation to email addresses, which is what I might want to do if I'm sharing it with a select group of people. Another option is, and this is how I shared you the link to the Hangout, if I just get a shareable link, it'll allow me to send anybody that I want to a link to the document instead of inviting them specifically. Because I'm the creator of this document, I need to give people access. So it says anyone with the link can view, anyone can edit. I'm going to switch the more that says anyone with the link, and then I'm going to change the access to edit. And then when I click save, if I send this link to people, for instance, Google Hangouts has this excellent chat tool that would allow me to send you the link to that document. So there is a link to that document over in the chat bar on the right-hand side of my Hangout now. You may be able to see it. And if you click on that link, you should be able to go in there and you should be able to add to the document. I see that we already have people in there adding to the document. The nice thing is that you can see the different colors of the people who are adding to the document. So this Google Doc is an excellent way for you guys to be able to collaborate together on a single document, which is the first step of what we are supposed to be doing today. Step one is for the group to decide on a name of a product, and then the instructions. If I pull up the instructions, it says you're supposed to write 2 to 3 paragraphs introducing the toy. The instructions say if you were interviewed by Toys R Us, what would you tell them to convince them to put it in the store? So what I'm going to have your group do is begin the document, this design document. And the first step is to get a lot more information, 2 to 3 paragraphs about your cool and amazing hardware toy. So let's see what time it is. So I've had you just about 30 minutes. I am going to the idea, if you're all together now, you can begin work on this process. You're already here, you're already communicating. You can begin deciding what your toy should be called and a detailed description of it to begin the process of this design document. But I'm going to leave you guys to that. The one last thing that I would say is that you can actually put this Google document, when it says my new document, how am I ever going to be able to get back to this document? Well, if I go back to, and if I click on the blue link, it will take you to, or it'll take me to my home page of my Google Docs. If I were in, this document should be there. There it is. This is the one that we created today. If I happen to start from my Google Drive, so if I went back to my email and I was just at my Google Drive is going to organize to me all of the documents that I shouldn't call them documents because that means a Word document, but it allows me, here's a quick access. This is the one that we created today. I see it as a giant bar here. Or one of the things that I can do is I can click on my drive and I can go specifically to my Google Documents, which will allow me to find this document that we just created. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to click on it. My quick access, that just seems to be the easiest way to get to it. If I double click on it, it allows me to go back to it. Because it's critically important that you guys know how to create one. and to how to share it with other people, but it's equally important knowing how to get back to it. So I know that that was a lot of information. I'm going to stop my screen sharing just by going back into my Hangout window and clicking on the stop button to stop the sharing. I know that was a lot of information very quickly, but I am recording this Hangout, and I will post out the link to the recording so you can come back and review it at your leisure. So does anybody have any additional questions?
So my only question is, the assignment's due in like a week, right? It's due on next Sunday.
Yes, the assignment is due. So you do have another week to work on it? Yes.
And we're doing everything from deciding on the toy all the way to the constructing the user interface.
Yep, it's a 4-step process, and the first step is what you're doing now. Well, obviously, before you could start step 1, a group had to decide on the toy that you'd like to design. But yet, as a group, you're going to move through the 4 different steps in this. The last one is to create a prototype. The prototype can either be drawn by hand, so each of the members of the group can draw some images by hand, or you can pull together some internet pictures and you can put them, drag and drop them into a single or into the Google Doc to try to get some screens of what the toy might actually look like.
Cool.
All right. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. If you wanted to begin work on that Google Doc, if you wanted to create another one that, or if you want to use this one, either one is perfectly acceptable.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. I do believe that this, well, I know that this link, this Google Hangout, is a permanent link that you can come back to anytime you want. The one thing is that you may have to log into Google from your Weber email account or using your Weber email account credentials in order for it to let you back in, because sometimes it labels them as domain specific. So you would have to sign in to Google using your Weber Gmail credentials. But the link, you should be, if you need to, you guys can come back here to this Hangout, or you can start your own Hangout if you would rather do that. Have any of you ever started a Google Hangout before?
No.
Nope.
All right. So how about if we do this one more time? Let me see if I can show you from your email. Let me see if I should never try things that I haven't done before. I generally start it from my YouTube channel. So let's see if we can start a Hangout from your Gmail account. So here I am. I'm in my Weber email account. Can everybody see my email account?
Yes.
Yep.
And let's see if I can figure out how to okay, I probably shouldn't do this. See if how I can figure out how to start a new Hangout. All right, I see an icon down here that says Hangout Conversations. I see something that looks like phone calls. Do you see these icons down here on the very bottom right-hand side of your screen? Do you see those icons on your email when you go into your email account?
Yes.
Let me see if I can click on the Hangout. Oh yeah, this is, I probably should have a better. Oh my gosh. New Hangout. All right, new Hangout. Okay, I'm going to have to figure that. I should probably not do this without checking in advance. So how about if I send you instructions on how to do it when I give you the link to this recording? So I don't take up any more of your time and I don't embarrass myself. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
I know that I have those. I generally start it from YouTube, so there you go. I'm going to stop the recording now.